Sports Drive, your breakfast sports show on radio. Sports Drive, your breakfast sports show on radio.
Lewandowski and Rice, Santana, they've smuggled it in. Extraordinary. Dortmund, 2 goals in stoppage time.
Get us started. Interesting night for the Paris Saint-Germain centre-half because he is coming up against a coach in Renato Paiva, who he used to work with in Ecuador. And it was Kvaratskhelia for the first time for Paris Saint-Germain, and Jean read where that was going to go. Too dissimilar to the opportunity we saw the Georgian create and replace Arthur Georges, who led the club to that famous double last season. Tour for Botafogo. Donnarumma down low to claim it. His tenacity wasn't. Igor Jesus. Lovely touch. Igor Jesus! A piece of fortune that favours. Well, you can see that little QR code at the bottom of your screen there. If you scan that with your smartphone, you will be able to vote for today's player of the match, as you will for every single game at this FIFA Club World Cup. And we'll tell you who wins that award at the end of this match.
Good morning to you, sport fans. Welcome to Sport Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM. Let's talk about the Club World Cup that keeps giving. And of course, we saw Lionel Messi rolling back at the year yesterday with a fantastic free kick against FC Porto. Talking about one of the top teams in European football. Of course, FC Porto, they've won the UEFA Champions League before. Remember, that year, led by Jose Mourinho, the former Chelsea manager. Lionel Messi came to the party yesterday. And of course, talking about Paris Saint-Germain, the current champion of the UEFA Champions League. Yes, they were stunned by Botafogo, another Brazilian side. Of course, if you look at the Brazilian contingent, they've been doing well for themselves so far in this Club World Cup. You can attest to the fact that they've got quality. They've got what it takes to go toe-to-toe with the big boys as far as European football is concerned. But then, what more can you say about the Club World Cup so far? I think for me, I'm enjoying all of the games. I'm enjoying all of the results. But then, I really want to see more from some of these European teams. You look at, at Real Madrid, they failed to get the job done in the first game, actually, against Al Hilal, and of course, Manchester City also. Well, for Manchester City, they started on a good note, but then going into their second game is going to be a bit difficult for them. So if you look at the Club World Cup so far, you can outrightly go on to predict that this is the team that will go on to win that one. But then we just have to wait to see what this particular tournament have to offer as far as the Club World Cup is concerned. So on that note, I'm welcoming you once again to Sport Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM. The last edition for the week. Yes, talking about Friday, and tomorrow definitely will be here to give you all of the best from the world of sport on iSport. And you're listening to the voice of BIODUN, APENA. BIODUNSPORT is my name. Well, without much ado, let's get into action on the show because of our time for this morning.
NBA champions once again.
Alright, let's start by picking our first story from the home front, and let's talk about CAF football, talking about club football in Africa. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has officially announced the schedule for the 2025-2026 inter-club competition, with both the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup set to kick off in the month of September. Yes, according to the calendar released by CAF, for the first leg of the preliminary round will take place between September 19 and 21, while the second leg is scheduled for September 26 to September 28. The adjustment to the Continental Club Football calendar was necessitated by the 2025 African Nations Championship, talking about CHAN, which is set to hold in August, serving as a major competition for home-based national teams representing Nigeria in the 2025-2026 CAF Club competition. Include Remo Star, Rivers United, both qualify for the CAF Champions League as one of the top teams in the MPFL. And of course, if you look at the second tier of CAF competition, also talking about the Confederations Cup, we'll get to see Abia Warriors alongside yet to be determined a winner of the President Federations Cup. Of course, that one will go down between Kwara United and Abakaliki FC. So the winner of that particular competition will go on to represent Nigeria on the continent alongside Abia Warriors in the CAF Confederations Cup. So according to report this morning, CAF has adjusted the date and of course the month which the CAF Champions League will be starting. We are actually looking forward to August before, but due to the CHAN competition, that one has been postponed to the month of September. So all of the clubs who will be participating in this one should get ready, start preparing. Of course, if you look at how the month is gradually run, you definitely want to say it's just a matter of time before we'll launch into September. So we'll get to enjoy a lot of football. August also, the English Premier League will be starting, and then we'll get to enjoy the CAF Champions League also in the month of September, and likewise the UEFA Champions League also.
Turns, shoots, fires. Shot won't go. Tucker the rebound. And that'll do it. It's over. The Bucks have done it. The long wait is ended after a half century.
Okay, let's move away on the from the home front. Let's look at the matches that went down yesterday in the Club World Cup. We saw some of the interesting games yesterday, and the game that really caught my attention was that one between FC Porto and Inter Miami. Of course, Inter Miami picked their first 3 points in the competition against the almighty FC Porto. Honestly, I was expecting FC Porto, to pick all 3 points in that game, looking at the quality, they've got. But then they failed to get the job done. They got the first goal, courtesy Samuel Omorodion, talking about the young Spanish international. He got the first goal for them, a VAR penalty, but then they couldn't actually consolidate on that, and they failed to get the job done at the end of the final, which of course Lionel Messi, La Puga himself, stepped up once again, scoring his trademark free kick. Of course, for those who watched Lionel Messi, is one of the greatest footballer of all time, and if you talk about him scoring free kick, trust me, he's that man that you can actually bank on in that kind of position, and he never disappointed. Of course, he stepped up yesterday to give Inter Miami all 3 points against FC Porto. So as it stands right now, yes, Inter Miami are currently with 4 points in their group. They look more like the team they'll be progressing to the next round of the competition. But for FC Porto, well, they drew their first game, lost their second game, and their third game is going to be very, very important. They need to go into that one and get the job done. But then if they fail, that means they are out of the competition. All right, talking about Atletico Madrid, also they lost their first game against the current champion of the UEFA Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain. But then yesterday, they were able to redeem, their image against Seattle Sounders, another American franchise club in the Club World Cup. Yes, they won 3-1 against the opponents yesterday. The likes of Barrios, talking about that young man, he's been phenomenal so far for Atletico Madrid. At least in this second game, he was really instrumental for them, scoring 2 goals against Seattle Sounders. And of course, right now, Atletico Madrid, can actually go into their last game with full confidence, knowing well that they just picked 3 points for themselves, and the last game is also very, very important for them to pick all 3 points. So as it stands, it's getting more interesting in that particular group. But then talking about Paris Saint-Germain, they won their first game with lots of goals. I think that one ended 4-0 against Atletico Madrid. And yesterday, well, I wasn't surprised actually, because if you look at the pedigree of Botafogo, particularly this season, they've been one of the best South American club. And if you remember, they recently won one of the major title, one of the major football competition, talking about the Copa Libertadores in South America. So it shows they've also got quality to ruffle feathers with the big boys. So I wasn't really surprised that they won against Paris Saint-Germain, and I think this Brazilian side are also stepping up to the big boys in terms of quality, in terms of game pattern, of course, in terms of the end result. They've been phenomenal so far, so good in this competition. But then looking at some of the games that will go down today. Yes, talking about some of the games that we'll get to see across in the Club World Cup. Benfica will go on to host Auckland City. Well, Auckland City, they are currently the whipping boy in their group. They lost their first game against Bayern Munich 10-0. That was a whitewash, if you must say. But then hopefully they should be able to at least salvage something against Benfica. But if you look at Benfica, they are brimming with lots of confidence right now. They also want to win their first game. Flamengo against Chelsea, that is one game to actually watch out for today. Yes, talking about another Brazilian, the club from South Korea. But if you look at Al-Ahly, they also lost yesterday in their game. But then we're looking forward to see Esperance of Tunisia against Los Angeles FC later tonight. So those are the games that you expect in the Club World Cup. But then talking about European Under-19 Championship, yes, we'll get to see Netherlands in the final of the Under-21 European Championship. The likes of Germany, the likes of England all progressed. Portugal also all progressed to the quarterfinal. I will get to see the boys are being separated from the men in the quarterfinal fixture. Alright, so in case you're just joining us for the first time, you're still listening to Sport Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM. Of course, you can be part of the conversation this morning. Let's get your thought concerning the Club World Cup. Are you enjoying some of the games so far? And of course, what do you make of the games that went down yesterday? And those games that will go down today also. A lot of interesting games to actually watch out for. And you can be part of the show by calling 0705 500 1033, or you call 09054 44 1033. And you can also watch us live on Facebook, I-FLIER 103.3 FM. Go drop your comments, like the page, and also share the video also for your loved ones to be part of the conversation on the show with BIODUNSPORT this morning. All right, let's move away from the world of football, at least for now. Let's touch on the world of basketball. All right, talking about the NBA finals. Well, so far so good. It's getting more interesting. The NBA final will be decided by the winner take all in Game 7 for the first time in 9 years after Indiana Pacers defeated the Oklahoma City Thunders 108 to 91 in Game 6 to level the series. Well, just like I predicted the last time, I knew Indiana Pacers are definitely going to bounce back, and exactly what they did in the earlier of this morning. So it's going to be very, very interesting. The final game, of course, that is the final game, and that definitely have to produce the winner. Who is going to be the winner? That is what we cannot say. But then, if you look at the current form of both teams, you may want to say they are currently at par because of how they've been able, to ruffle feathers with each other in each games. They've been, improving in every game, and I'm looking forward to see, how the final will pan out. But then, talking about some of the big boys to step up for them, you can actually look forward to Alebotin for Indiana Pacers, and of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the OKC Thunders. Also, these are guys that will definitely step up in the last game. But then, I'm looking forward to see who is going to win this NBA final. This will be the first time we'll get to see, the game that will drag into Game 7 in the last 9 years, and it's really, really interesting to see how this particular game will pan out. Alright, let's touch on the world of tennis. Also, let's talk about some of the ATPs and WTA 500 competition that is currently going on across Europe. Of course, we've got competition in Germany, we've got in England, but then let's talk about the Queen's game that is currently going on. Talking about world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz says he did not know how he's still standing in some of this competition. Well, if you don't know, maybe we'll tell you, you are currently one of the best in the world of tennis right now, and I think this man is doing really well for himself as far as the tennis is concerned. Of course, the Spaniard won his last game against his compatriot, talking about winning his game 6-4, 6-7, 7-9, 7-5 on a scorching London afternoon yesterday. Well, talking about winning and progressing to the quarterfinal. Yes, Carlos Alcaraz won against Jaume Muna. That is another Spanish player who is also finding his feet in the world of tennis. All right, let's move away from that one quickly because our time is fast spent on the show for this morning. Let's talk about the world of transfer before we go on the show for this morning. All right, finally on the show for this morning, let's look at some of the latest stories from the world of transfer. Well, Liverpool fans, congratulations to you guys because the German international arrived in UK yesterday to complete his medical and of course move to Liverpool as their official player. Well, a good time for Liverpool, really happy for them, but then we look forward to how they will go on to perform. Talking about the other move for Liverpool, yes, just like we reported yesterday, they want to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle United, and that will cost them nothing less than £150 million in the transfer market. And talking about Arsenal also, they are one step ahead in signing Benjamin Sesko all the way from RB Leipzig, and moving away Marcus Rashford might be sealing is moved down to Newcastle for £50 million. Well, interestingly, the likes of, talking about Tottenham Hotspur are interested in signing the England international. But then he says he would love to play for Newcastle United. Meanwhile, the likes of Manchester City and of course Liverpool also wants to sign Maguire, the man who is currently playing for Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace are saying any club that wants to sign the young England international will buy him in nothing less than £85 million. Well, the transfer market right now, is really funny. If you are not going to pay premium, that means you cannot get quality. So if you want quality, you definitely have to pay a premium for some of these top players. All right, finally on the show for this morning, let's talk about the camp of Barcelona. Yes, they've reached a verbal agreement with Atletico Bilbao for Nico Williams, who is set to sign personal terms and of course go on to complete his deal with Barcelona. Manchester United also will do everything possible to sign Brian Mbeumo, who says he would love to play for Manchester United this coming season. So good for Manchester United. Guys, we need to go on the show for this morning. Thank you always for staying tuned to I-FLIER 103.3 FM, and until I come your way again, always make sure that you do not involve yourself in trouble, and of course make sure you also do some sports. Till I come your way again tomorrow, which is Saturday, I'll get to give you the best of the best from the world of sport on iSport. I remain BIODUN, and of course a big thanks to Pat Bio, who made sure you get to listen to us in the studio this lovely Friday morning. Till I come your way tomorrow, do have a lovely Friday morning. Bye for now.
Advocate of responsible journalism and always serving the people with emotions, entertainment, and information across the globe is I-FLIER 103.3 FM.
Tinubu approves 50 billion naira security vote for 5 northern states.
Inflation, economic and so.
Broadcasting and streaming live around the world from Ibadan City.
Bring the heat.
For your non-stop latest hit, entertainment content, and beautiful memories for your family and friends, I-FLIER 103.3 FM is your #1 favorite radio station. I-FLIER, the perfect choice station for you, the high flyers.
ó ń sẹ́ míngímíngí ó ń dún kẹ̀rírí àwọn ètò lọ́lọ́kùn òjọ̀kan lórí àṣà èdè ẹ̀fẹ̀ ìlera ètò ẹ̀kọ́ àti ohun amúlùúdùn nílẹ̀ yìí àti lókè òkun máa gbọ́ ìkànnì aláṣẹ.
I-FLIER 103.3 I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ògúngbadé la fìkàlẹ̀ sí tí wàá lètò àṣà àti àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tó nítumọ̀. Ẹ máa gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo ìgbà kétékété làwọn èèyàn gbọ́ wa káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé. Ẹ máa bá wa ká lọ nínú àwọn ọ̀tun ètò àrà ọ̀tọ̀ ètò eléyìí tá à ń gbé jáde erin lákàtàbù rédíò tá a kalẹ̀ sílùú Ìbàdàn. I-FLIER 103.3 FM ìkànnì aláṣẹlà ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ má ṣàláì gbọ́ wa.
máa gbọ́ bó ṣe ń dún kẹ̀rìrì fún ètò ìròyìn àṣà àti ìfitónilétí láì fi gbá kan bọ̀ kan nínú àkókò lọ́ba gbẹ́dúgbẹ́dù I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ògúngbadé ń bàdàn láwà.
ọmọ nàìjíríà níbo là ń lọ. òṣèlú nàìjíríà o olórí nàìjíríà ibi tẹ́ bá ń kó wà rè é wí fún wa lọ. ọmọ nàìjíríà níbo là ń lọ. òṣèlú nàìjíríà olórí nàìjíríà ibi tẹ́ bá ń kó wà rè é wí fún wa lọ. ọmọ nàìjíríà níbo là ń lọ. òṣèlú nàìjíríà olórí nàìjíríà ibi tẹ́ bá ń kó wà rè é wí fún wa náà. ọmọ nàìjíríà níbo là ń lọ òṣèlú nàìjíríà olórí nàìjíríà ibi tẹ́ bá ń kó wà rè é wí fún wa náà. October 1960 tó fún wa ní independence tààlà gbòmìnira ọdún mẹ́ta lẹ́yìn yẹn